Welcome. Today we have Viktor Várkonyi from the Nemetschek group and Hilde Sevens, CEO of SCIA, with us. Viktor, Hilde, thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
And I will start with the first question. Viktor, can you maybe explain your function within the Nemetschek group?
Yes, of course. I'm the Chief Division Officer from the Nemetschek Group. So the Nemetschek Group is organized into 3 or 4 major divisions, addressing the specific needs of market verticals. And I'm responsible for the design division, taking care on our customers who are on the design side of the AEC workflows. So we are highly focused on the BIM market, and I'm personally engaged with this market for quite long. I joined my first company, Graphisoft, in '92. So since then, I'm in the industry. It's a fascinating marketplace where we are. So I'm really excited to be in this group.
Thank you.
And obviously, my job is to take care on the global strategies, taking care on our brands that are spread all over the world, and to make sure that we stay at front of the industry.
And can you remember the first time you heard about the project?
Yes, I think it was like 3 years ago, when we had a deep strategy discussion with Hilde and the management team of SCIA. And that discussion was about that, which I think is very important in the software industry, but also in every business, that how you reinvent yourselves time by time to make sure that our technologies, our solutions are not aging, but we always stay ahead of the competition. And I think what SCIA started 3 years ago is exactly addressing this need, that to make sure that we deliver a very competitive solution to our customers.
Thank you. And Hilde, what was your first impression of the new UI?
Well, of course, I've followed the new UI all along throughout the 3 years, but I was thrilled, really thrilled with the fact that the whole UI is basically working in perfect harmony with the structural engineer. And that was always the intention, right? The fact that we have built in a full workspace transformation to allow the engineer to have their projects front and center, have much more space to work in. And the key point that I really get excited about is the fact that this user interface is not just easy to use and easy to learn, but it is a lot of fun to use. And that really gets me excited.
Me too. And where does the new UI differ from the old one?
Well, the old one, it's a little bit like what Viktor was saying. We really want to be ahead of the curve. And if we look at the old UI, it is, how all the structural engineering software is looking like today. What we wanted to do is really bring about a revolution on user experience. So we really focused on user experience. And when you have a UI with a lot of features and functions like we do with SCIA Engineer, it's easy that things get a little cluttered, or what we sometimes heard from our customers was, we can't find this or that function very easily. And so we really focused on building into an intuitive workspace and an intuitive way of finding things. Like we have this feature called Spotlight, which allows you to find anything, in a split second. And that really makes the environment intuitive and easy to learn and use. So that's really where one of the areas that we differ from before. And I really believe that it is a revolution in user experience in our field that we work in.
Yes, absolutely. Viktor, I have another question for you. Do you feel that UI has an impact or can contribute to raise productivity and ROI within the AEC market?
Oh, absolutely. And I just want to emphasize that many people consider UI as a bunch of, dialogues and menu items and so on. And in my opinion, that's somewhat different. That's just what we see. The UI and UX has to go way much deeper. So a modern and fresh UI always comes together with a modern and fresh software inside as well. So if there is a mismatch, then it immediately comes to the surface. You just cannot hide it. So if just think about products, what you use day by day, like Apple, for instance, an iPhone, it has a beautiful UI, but it also has a lot of substance behind. So certainly if you have a modern technology behind, then you have to enjoy a lot of benefits. I probably would like to bring up three major aspects. The first one probably that our job is to make sure that our clients can focus on their job. So ultimately they have to deliver on the client requirements in terms of cost, functions, the quality. And if the software is just behaves as our user would assume, then that mission can be accomplished, that he or she can really focus on the job. And by doing that, the second aspect probably is that we can unleash creativity. So design is always about thinking and how the software supports the creative process. That's extremely important. If we always have to search for certain buttons and memorize them, that how I can do this or that, then we are not driving success. And of course, what Hilde already mentioned, that fun and enjoyment, it's always very strongly linked with the user interface. And ultimately, enjoyment in work, that brings a lot of motivation to our clients, which also productivity, but probably that also very helpful that in our clients can attract the best people out on the market. So I think I could bring up some examples that how UI really delivers productivity and ROI in many different aspects.
Yeah, I can confirm. Hilde, how do you think this will affect the day-to-day workflow of a structural engineer?
I think it will affect it drastically. I think the efficiency will, get a huge, step forward. People will be having an easier time to learn the software and to use them in a day-to-day setting. And as Viktor mentioned too, I think the fun fact, although that might sound like, it's not work related, but it is. If you have to work day in, day out with one tool, then it better be fun to use it, right? So I think that's also going to enhance that efficiency and the creativity of the structural engineer, allowing the structural engineers to focus on the things that they like the best and they want to do the most.
Yeah.
And so I think it's definitely going to be huge.
When it looks nice, then it's fun to work with.
Yeah.
And Viktor, do you think we are changing the market of structural engineering software?
Hopefully, yes. So you have to know, guys, that I'm not a structural engineer, but I've been always fascinated on all the new technologies that year by year are coming to our industry. If you are just thinking about that, what kind of buildings we are designing today and has been designed a couple of years ago in terms of materials and shapes and forms, then the market around us is just extremely fast. So here there is millions of place for innovation. And with SCIA, I'm absolutely sure that we are ahead of the market and leading these transformations in the industry and unleashing innovation. And I always say on business reviews or business discussions that when I hear that some people are saying that this is our competitive advantage, then I'm saying that no, that's not right. Our competitive advantage is that we deliver competitive advantage to our customers. So ultimately, we have to innovate in a way that our customers can be the best out on the market. So this is the role of software to make sure that that our customers can be ahead of the industry and competition.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. And as you said yourself, Viktor, the Nemetschek group has always been very innovative. Can you tell us maybe a bit about how you see the future?
Oh, there is millions of trends out on the market. Maybe I would pick up one because a short time, and that is that the world around us is extremely fast and just getting faster and faster every day. So it's absolutely critical that how fast we can respond to the client needs. And in most of the cases, those needs are not constant. So it's just as the projects are evolving, they have new and new ideas. And we have to be very responsive for that. So that comes with a lot of conclusions. First of all, for instance, that we have to bring the professions closer to each other. So the Nemetschek group is quite innovative on the area that how we can make sure that architects, structure engineers, and different other engineering disciplines, how they join as one team. If you follow up the announcements, then you can hear that how many great stuff are coming out from the group concerning that how ArchiCAD, Allplan, SCIA, our leading solutions are working together. Just to mention the latest announcement from SCIA, the SCIA Auto Converter, which I think really connects the structural engineering profession into the overall design flow.
Thank you very much. Do you like to say something else to our customers?
Oh, probably my message would be that don't afraid to change. Because and whenever you make a decision to change your processes, then do it with full stamina. That I've seen those customers of ours being very successful, where there is a clear management decision and afterwards a very strict execution. And our market is just so fast around us that it's just great if you keep up with all the innovations that are around us, and then hopefully SCIA and all the other Nemetschek businesses can help you on this journey.
Thank you very much for the last question.
I would like to add something to that too, if you don't mind. I think to Viktor's point, it's change is hard. Everybody has a hard time with changes. This is a huge change in our user experience and our user interface. So I think it's sometimes a little daunting for customers. But I am convinced that if they use it one day, maybe a week or so, that they would not want to go back to the old user experience and user interface. So when they do make the decision to move to V21, and I hope they all will very quickly, that they indeed go with stamina and just go for it, and they'll see that it's very much in their benefit, and they're going to have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I'm also convinced with that. And with that last question, we're coming to an end to this interview. Hilde, Viktor, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
And now we're going back to the studio.